On the afternoon of March 10, 2026, a drone appeared over Bryansk in western Russia, not to strike, but to guide. Minutes later, 7 Storm Shadow cruise missiles followed, flying low to evade radar. At exactly 4:59 p.m., they hit their target, building number 4 of the Kremniy-El microelectronics plant, one of Russia's most critical defense manufacturing facilities. Within moments, the building was destroyed. Fires spread across over 1,000 square meters. The roof collapsed, and the main assembly floor was obliterated. According to Ukraine's general staff, the facility is expected to remain offline for at least 6 months. This was not just another strike, it was a strategic blow to the core of Russia's military capability. Kremniy-El was a key supplier of microchips used in precision-guided weapons. Without these chips, modern missiles lose their accuracy. They become far less effective, turning from precision weapons into unreliable projectiles. Microchips are the brains of modern weapons. They calculate trajectories, adjust for environmental conditions, process GPS data, and guide warheads to their targets. Russia's missile systems, including Iskander, Kaliber, Kh-101, and air defense systems like S-300 and S-400, depend heavily on these components. Kremniy-El produced over 200 types of such electronics, with more than 90% going directly to the Russian military. The plant, founded in 1958, had evolved into one of Russia's most important military electronics hubs. Its destruction represents a major disruption in Russia's ability to produce precision-guided weapons. Ukraine had targeted this facility multiple times before using drones in 2023, 2024, and early 2025, causing temporary damage. But those attacks were limited. The plant could repair and resume operations. This time was different. Storm Shadow missiles delivered a far more devastating effect. Each carries a powerful warhead and uses advanced guidance systems to strike with high precision. The missiles hit the main assembly area and the warehouse storing critical materials. Clean rooms, specialized equipment, and production lines were destroyed. More importantly, the expertise behind the operation was also lost. Highly skilled personnel and irreplaceable machinery were wiped out. Microchip production requires extremely advanced equipment, much of it originally imported from Western countries decades ago. Since 2022, sanctions have cut Russia off from these technologies. This means rebuilding the facility is not just difficult, it may take years. Russia cannot easily replace the machines or obtain new ones due to global restrictions. The broader impact is significant. Destroying a factory affects not just current output, but the entire production pipeline. Modern warfare depends on continuous replenishment. If production stops, military capability steadily declines over time. Kremniy-El was a bottleneck, a critical node in Russia's supply chain. Without it, missile production slows or halts. Even if Russia has stockpiles, they are limited. Once used, they cannot be quickly replaced. Russia has already been facing semiconductor shortages since 2022. Over 70% of its chips now come from China, but many are commercial grade and less reliable. Reports suggest failure rates of up to 40% in military applications. This has already reduced the accuracy and effectiveness of Russian missiles. The destruction of Kremniy-El worsens this situation dramatically. The timing is also crucial. Just days before the strike, Russia introduced a new missile, the Iskander-30, intended as a show of strength. Ukraine's response was to destroy the facility producing its key components. At the same time, Ukraine struck another major target, the Votkinsk plant, where missiles are assembled. By hitting both production and assembly facilities, Ukraine demonstrated a coordinated strategy aimed at dismantling Russia's military-industrial complex. This is not random, it is systematic. Ukraine is targeting every stage of the weapons production chain: components, assembly, and deployment. Russia's reaction underscores the impact. Kremlin officials blamed Western involvement, particularly Britain, since Storm Shadow missiles are jointly produced by the UK and France. This narrative aims to frame the strike as NATO aggression, potentially justifying escalation. For years, Ukraine had requested permission from Western allies to use long-range weapons inside Russia. The strike shows why hitting factories can be more effective than frontline attacks. 7 missiles achieved what repeated drone strikes could not: long-term disruption of critical production. From Ukraine's perspective, this is also about defense. Every missile that cannot be built is one that will not strike Ukrainian cities. The strategy is to reduce Russia's capacity to wage war, not just counter its current attacks. This comes at a critical moment in the war. Ukraine faces manpower challenges and increasingly relies on drones, which now account for a large portion of successful strikes. Meanwhile, Russia is under growing pressure, its supply chains are strained, external support is uncertain, and economic stress is rising. Global dynamics add another layer. Ongoing conflicts elsewhere, including tensions involving Iran and the United States, have shifted international attention. This has given Ukraine more operational space to conduct deep strikes. Looking ahead, Ukraine has identified multiple additional targets within Russia's defense industry. The strike on Kremniy-El is likely just the beginning of a broader campaign. The implications are clear. Russia's ability to produce advanced weapons is under sustained pressure. With key facilities damaged and supply chains disrupted, its long-term military capacity is weakening. This does not mean the war will end quickly. Both sides remain capable of continuing, but Ukraine has demonstrated a new approach, one focused on systematically degrading Russia's ability to sustain its war effort. The destruction of Kremniy-El represents more than a tactical success. It marks a shift in strategy, from fighting battles to dismantling the enemy's capacity to fight at all. 7 missiles, 1 factory. A critical part of Russia's military production offline for months. The question now is not whether this strategy works, but how long Russia can endure its effects.